How are you, everyone? Pamela, Claire, Judy, Terry, Barry, Eva. Good morning. It's 8:30 here from my place. And right now, my heart is a bit pounding because in the past 15 minutes, have just scaled something like 20 floors because I'm now on the way to somebody's home who regularly lives here in this hill alone. On a regular basis, he lives here alone in this entire hill. And on the way, oh, sorry. By the way, I need to turn off the podcast in English. 帮我华为关一下。The temperature has dropped over 10 degrees Celsius overnight. And just now, I just scaled for about 20 floors, and now I have a little bit running nose, but just a little bit. It's just my nose is a bit sensitive when the temperature goes down. And on the way, we encountered some ladies who just come here today to pick some tea seeds. It's this kind of seed. Looks like a tiny chestnut. It's different from the ones I showed you earlier on another tour, maybe last week also. It's a different tea seed. This one is much smaller, and it's from the low tea bush, not the bigger tea bush. The bigger tea bush is something as tall as a man. Well, this tea bush is to your waist, something like this. And this is what these ladies are doing. So, by this chance, I will just show you what these ladies are doing here. I'm in the rural village area in southeastern China of Anhui province. It's close to the east coast. You can drive here in 3 hours to see the East China Sea. And the ladies, they get those seeds also for the oil extracted from the kernel inside it. Yeah, but it's a bit different. This is not a common one. People usually get those larger, the seeds from those larger tea trees. Not these. These are low tea bushes. In every spring, you see a lot of people coming here to pick the buds, the leaves, the fresh leaves for tea leaves. But now they're here for the seeds. And by the way, 给我看一下你们是在哪儿采摘的？哦，在地上。Look, you can find it on the ground. 这边有一颗，是吧？这边你看有一颗呢。Right. Yeah, just look for it. 就采地上的哈。The tea flowers. The tea bushes here are not theirs. They just come to pick because, the seeds are on the ground. And usually, this kind of seed is not what people usually want. In that case, it doesn't matter. They can just go anywhere as they like to pick the seeds. And by the way, I would also like to show you the surrounding, the natural landscape in this area. If you fall, you die. You can see it's you can say it's steep, but it's all right. I mean, you can roll. You can roll down and get a little bit hurt, but not to the degree of severe injury or death. Not here. You don't want to see the rocks. Well, here, the slope is mainly covered on the soil, earth. Who does own the tea plantation? The individual families in the village. After the Mao's era, because in the Mao's era, people in China worked in collectives or cooperatives, and that means everyone belonged to a group, and they worked to get their work points, and in exchange for like food, right? And they worked together. They produced a unit of output based on each group, and there was no individualism at that time at all. Well, after Mao's era, under Deng Xiaoping's ruling time, there was a reform in which individual farmers or the families got reallocated croplands to today. So now these farmers, they grow and pick what the vegetation produces in their croplands. And some are for self-sufficient purpose. They just consume them. Well, some can produce interests, like there are cash plants, such as tea is one of them. Well, but for the tea, it's usually the tea leaves that people get in the beginning of spring to make money. Yeah, this is the major part of the local farmers' income over 1 year. And right now, I'm at the height of about 300 meters above the sea level. Well, where I live is about 200 meters. And in the past 20 minutes, I have scaled over 100 meters, which can change for like 20 or more floors in a modern building in a city. I was a bit late. Yeah. Okay, so now we are on the way to visit the man who lives in this hill regularly alone. And he isn't as old, not even close, as those old members we interviewed earlier. He is only in 70s. Yeah. But what is special about him is he lives here alone in this hill. Anhui Province, west of Shanghai. Look at the map in upper left of the screen. That's right. Anhui Province, back in Ming and Qing dynasty, was even more important than its status today in relevance to other administrative divisions in China. Yeah, because look, Shanghai, before the British influence, was just a tiny fishing village. Well, just think about it. Shanghai is located at the estuary of the Yangtze River. It's where the Yangtze River, the largest river of China, empties into the East China Sea. It's actually at a very critical location for trade. But just think about that. Shanghai opened as a treaty port only after the British colony, let's say, back in 1840s, after the first Opium War. 1843, Shanghai officially opened as a treaty port. Just to think about that. Before 1840, Shanghai was unknown, unimportant fishing village. Just think about it. So again, Anhui back in olden days, in the feudal China time, was more important than today. While today, Anhui is still one of the important provinces, but there are other provinces, especially in this region of China, the southeastern Yangtze Delta region. They are more important than Anhui province, such as Zhejiang. Zhejiang province has its capital city in Hangzhou, and Zhejiang is actually the most affluent province in China. And there's in the same region, there's also Jiangsu province. Well, Jiangsu is also a very big contributor to Chinese GDP. Well, therefore, Anhui is not as important. Yeah, but still, compared to other regions of China, Anhui is a contributor to China's GDP, let's say. And the people here work pretty hard. A lot of people here, they work as migrant workers in towns and cities all across China, but mainly concentrated in eastern China along the coast. Yeah. So let me put this way: Anhui today is more important as a base or factory for Chinese labor, and in most cases, cheap labor. It's from this province, and also you have to realize that there are actually northern Anhui province and the southern Anhui province. I'm in southern Anhui province. The difference is that northern Anhui province is more industrialized. There are more factories, industries, heavy industries. But here in southern, more natural. People mainly just contribute. I mean, they mainly make money by their labor, a lot of migrant workers. And there are also some light industries. And tourism is more developed in this part of China, in this part of Anhui province. Look, now we are getting to the village where the old man lives. He lives here alone. Other buildings are not attended to. And actually this one right in front of you is down. Great to see you, everyone. Thank you for your interest and support and care about what is going on in China. And a couple of days ago, on the 11th, I did my tour. That was the tour that after I started my first tour in 1 month's time. And this is, let's say, the first tour of my second month going. And I hope I can do better. And last time Lynn told me that, Jen. Jen told me that I did a better job in running the camera. Yeah, that's my progress. I hope I can do better in other aspects. Thank you for your support. And today, maybe it's also a chance for we to learn about the variety of plants in this region. Because look, we are with some local ladies, and also we're going to visit a man who is pretty good at telling the difference from different plants. We are approaching his home. You are doing well. Taking and walking uphill, not easy. Thank you, Cynthia. In my previous tours, you saw the rock villages, Little Rock Village. See, these are the flagstone rocks. And also there are some adobe houses. Plus, a good number of plain, more modern buildings that were built more recently, like in around the 1980s, 1990s. Because in 1980s and 90s, the living standard of Chinese people already started to improve quite evidently. Around that time, people started to build bigger and more modern buildings to accommodate the family or maybe nuclear, smaller family members. Yeah. Well, today, the urbanization rate of China is pretty high. In Mao's era, almost 8 or 9, let's say, people out of 10 in China were farmers. But today, close to 7 out of 10 people are people who live in the city, urbanites. There are less and less people who still live in rural China. Well, this is the rural of the rural area. It's more backwater. Fortunately, we have the internet connect. Therefore, I can do Heygo, and you can get to see the small unknown villagers here. Yeah, this man I just said, he is the only one who lives in this hill regularly. Sometimes there are people who just come back to live, for the time being. Some older people, their homes here, they want to live here. Then their children want their help, and the children are usually in towns and cities. Then they may travel to their children's homes to help take care of children. I mean, the children's children, their grandchildren, and also help just maybe the business of their children, or this sort of stuff. All right, the ladies, they're going to go ahead to a higher altitude to get their tea seats. So we're going to stay here because this is the home of the man. And again, I'm here. Yeah. And again, I'm here with my wife. My wife is originally from this village, and we met in Shanghai. I'm originally from Shanghai. I lived most of my life in Shanghai. I just moved here with my wife in June. Shanghai earlier this year imposed a very draconian lockdown for 3 months between March and June. So actually, back a couple of years ago, we already started to thinking about living in maybe her village, but it was a very hard decision to make until the lockdown and lockup. It was the last straw on the back of the camel. We just made it, and we moved here with our 2 children to enjoy more space, more fresh air, more insects, just more nature. Yeah.姑父现在多大年纪啊？72是吧？He is 72 years old. And actually, he is the maternal uncle of my wife. Yeah. And the aunt of my wife, or this man's wife, the auntie of my wife, that's right. The wife of this man passed away quite recently. 兰兰，就是你姑姑什么时候去世的？我和她以后5年了。哦，8年了 ，sorry, 8 years ago. She passed away 8 years ago. And let's take a seat and talk a little bit with him and have a look around. 这是他自己的爸爸是吧？ Look, the typical setting of a Chinese home. There's always a central painting, decorative painting on the screen wall. This wall is called a screen wall because it's not really the back of the room. There's a small segmentation behind this wall. It's a screen wall. Yeah, and the decorative painting is flanked by 2 spring couplets with auspicious words on each. Yeah, the paper is usually red, while the portrait here hanging above in the center is the father of this man. And here we also can see the picture of the couple. The lady passed away 8 years ago.
男人已經算是年病人已經是佢大一張了。
哦，年病噶，佢好多年了。
更重。
姑父以前做什么的？
你现在做么个？
啊，这走了。
你做农。
做农的哈。一直都做农的。Do you know what these are? 这些就是丝瓜晒干的呗，对不对？
老了。
The dried zucchini. Now it's loofah, right? Don't. You can use it to wash dishes, plates, cleaning, tables, etc. for cleaning. ，This is the dining table. Actually, we didn't tell him that we would come here for a filming. We just talked with him days ago that we would come just to have a chat. And this is so in that case it's more original, right? And here is the dining table. It's a bit busy here, but look, I mean, if I live a single life alone as a man, it won't be much better. Oh, by the way, do you recognize what this is? 兰兰，这就是那个甜灸，这就是甜灸呀，是吧？
可以吃的。
Enjoy a hot drink if he offers so. Yes, very.
是很甜的。
他吃的部分是哪里？
看我吃。
啊，稍微等一下，稍微等一下。
摘下来，这个籽可以吐掉的。那吃这个肉。
就这样，再来一颗看看。直接就放进去。
把籽吐掉。
把籽吐掉。啊。You can just put it in your mouth and then spit the little pits in it out. Just spit the pits out. And this is actually the Japanese raisin tree. The fruits from Japanese raisin. Raisin. Yeah, I got to know this also through my wife. Maybe 2 months ago when I went to a town around here. And I saw it for the first time, and she introduced that to me. And today, we just see it here again. And this is his bedroom. He has always worked as a farmer in this village. Wow, 这么多药啊！我不喝酒。哎，我不喝酒的姑父，我就是在这儿来说说话玩玩的。这么多药是怎么回事啊？
那么多啊？你整个哈？
你做。
他吃的药。
这么多药啊！他食道癌几年了？
食道癌3年了。
3年了。哦。
人家回来不走了哈。
He is 72 years old, and 3 years ago he got a disease. A cancer, a kind of cancer of gullet cancer. And now he lives on a lot of medicines. You know what? Actually, I have found that not just quite recently, even years ago, I talked with my wife. I told her that I realized that there is a higher incidence of cancer in rural China, at least in the village where she, was born into and grew up. She kind of pushed back this kind of idea, maybe because she thinks living here is very healthy and natural. To that, I totally agree. But the thing is, I still think that there is a higher incidence of cancer based on what I have seen and heard in this kind of a village in China. And I think personally the reason is because people here, when they were younger, they lived in very hard conditions, and also not exposed to any education. In that case, you don't know what to do to maintain your health. And well, over time, when you eat just a monotonous diet without any variety, you also get into some problem. I think this is what it is behind what I have observed in rural China. Does he have heat in his home? 姑父取暖用什么的？火虫。It's this thing. This thing can do the trick. And the local people, they speak the vernacular dialect, and they call it in local language 火虫。你说一遍。火虫。用火虫。火虫. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to people who speak Mandarin like me, but you can kind of guess. It is something related to fire, because the first part, ho, it sounds like the Chinese character in Mandarin that is read huo, yeah, with fire. So this is their mobile fireplace. People can just hold it in your hands or put it under your feet to get, get heated, get warmth. And what you need to put inside is some ashes and also the charcoals mixed together in the container, and it can give you consistent heat for a couple of hours. Oh, what about the cancer? 他现在食道癌的话，就是吃这个药。啊？这个药怎么吃法？现在？
白吉糖啊，这个是吃背肌痛的。
背肌痛的。
它还有食道癌的药，吃另外的药。
This medicine here is not for his cancer. It's for his backache. Backache. 他食道癌的话，现在能吃些什么？能吃些什么？
哦，他说除了猪肉、那个瘦肉，其他都能吃。
是其他都能吃啊？就是猪肉的瘦肉不能吃啊？真的吗？
他吞不下去。
吞不下去，但其他都是可以的。
其他可以吃。
水果啊也都可以是吧？thank you, Barbara. I just asked what is special about his diet, since he now suffers the gullet cancer, and he said that he actually can eat pretty much everything, except for the lean part of pork, unless it's cut into very fine shreds. So I guess it's you can't eat the big pieces of food. You have to maybe cut it very fine and eat the very small, parts of it, or something fluid. 一会儿让姑父给我们看看，介绍一下茅山的情况，景色啊，还有沿路的一些植物，你比较了解的，是不是啊？还要介绍一下一些动物什么的。这里的话，是吧？你这边后面有个楼梯的吗？能上去的吗？哦，能上去的是吧？哦，不上去，我就看一下。Usually behind the screen wall is a flight of a staircase that leads to the second floor. So dark. There's light coming through an opening in the second floor. 不需要，我就这边拍一下就行了。这边是一些辣椒哈。他平时的话是用电磁炉。
他说他从来不炒菜，就用电饭锅随便煮点粥，里面放点菜，再放点盐，就这样吃了。
就放在一起煮，是吧？
早上中午都是煮，那自己下煮，到有煮面我不晓得的。
Thank you, Pamela. How old is his house?
他在住宿的地方。
哦，你这房子多少年了？
哪子？
过了呢。
37年了。
86年造的。
对，37年了。
The house was built in 1986. It has been 37 years. I was born 1 year before, in 1985. So this house was built when I was 1 year old, 1987 or 1986. All right. Actually, I would like to take you to have a look outside. Look, almost every household here has this sign stuck on the door, and it means it says law-abiding household. When I asked the local people how they got it, they actually have no idea. They just told me that they just got it, but they don't know how they got it. It's just given to you to warn you that be obedient. Wow, there's drizzle. Can you see the drizzle? Actually, this area hasn't seen any rain that looks like rain for quite a few months. Drizzle is not good. It doesn't help solve the problem. There has been a drought, and but hopefully we'll get some rain because according to the weather forecast, there will be a rainfall period, and I believe in that period we can get some rain. That will work for the vegetations here. How many people live in this house? Where does he get his medical care? How many people live in this house? The man has 2 daughters, and both daughters are married. And of course, he also has grandchildren. And one of his grandsons last year actually got married. And but let me ask, how many people actually lived here years ago? 兰兰，这里的话，这个房子以前他造好以后，多少户人住在这里？就多少人住在这里？
这栋房子就他跟姑姑还有他2个女儿了，4口人。
就女儿以前也住在这里的是吧
？4口人。
啊，女儿然后什么时候搬出去的呢？
结婚嫁出去了。
结婚嫁出去的时候搬出去，几几年
？1995年了。
1995年啊。
哦。一个95年，一个2000年。
是吗？So before 1986 and 1995, when his first daughter was married, this house accommodated 4 members. Well, his second daughter was married in the year 2000. Then, after 2000, there were only 2 people living in this house, the man and his wife, until 8 years ago. Does he receive a government pension? 对了，姑父现在这个有没有退休金啊？他现在生活经济状态怎么样啊？没有退休工资的。
养老金多少了？养老金在144吧。1个月144，养老金。
那么有没有其他的就是针对70岁以上的人补助呢
？70岁以上啊，低保个呗，另外有在低保那里加来的是。
他有低保的，就低保里面1个月加20块钱。
低保要超过70、90。
哦，低保超过了
70。
他现在等于说才1个月才160几啊
？160几哦。160加上20160哈。
那个20几啊，算个低保来的。
这个他加起来是不是160嘞？
这个低保429。
哦，低保有429。
哦，还有个低保429。
双女户有80几块1个月。
啊。
2个女呢？
哦，双女户。
双女户啊。
他因为生了2个女儿，所以他有
本公养证。
他有本光荣证，可以拿到一点钱。
是吧？双女户，这倒是没有听说过。
计
生办的。
啊。
计划生育的。
所以说他的组合是144是什么金啊？是养老金是吧？
养老金加低保。 400多。
So now if you put his pension, which is 144 yuan a month, and the low-income household allowance given by the government, which is much bigger, 400 yuan, plus 80 yuan because he has 2 daughters. That's very weird. 80 yuan per month, and something else, not much. So put them together, it seems like 600 or 700 yuan per month that he gets regularly in each month from the government. Yeah. How much does his electricity cost him? 这里电费怎么样啊？姑父这边每个月的电费？
没多好哈，1个月几些？1个月最多40多块一个。最多1个月40几块。
最多的时候啊，就是夏天的时候呗。
最少10几块钱。
最少10几块钱，水费是免费的哈。No widow's pension。他有没有就是来？他因为是丧偶的嘛，他在这方面有没有什么补助啊？就是年纪。Laurie, there's no allowance or pension in the name of widowship. Let me put it this way. It's quite misty now because of the drizzle. 姑父给我们带我们走走，要不要？
姑父找你打给看看。
在我们附近走走，然后介绍一下。不过今天现在好像景观有点雨哈。那就在这吧，那就在这。
看村庄的。
啊，看看有什么景观什么的。
要么狸猫山你去走一走。
Why does he get allowance for having 2 daughters? Yeah, that's when I heard it minutes ago, I was also a bit surprised. 你听说过什么双女户吗？
双女户我没听过呀。这是计生办给他发的证。
是吗？他有证书的。
那他就门口这样后面冲。计划生育，家庭奖励的辅助，光荣证。
光荣证。
这写了他哈。老姑妹。
应该古为一份当草啊。
发证2011年，然后从这个证领取以后嘛，就开始拿到钱了。哦。This is the certificate that was granted by the authority. And it was given actually in the year 2011. And I mean, this is also, for me, first time have heard of that. But look, actually, in China, let me tell you that there are actually sometimes allowance in different names. But you have to get access to it. You have to learn about it. You have to sometimes even, kind of fight for it. Through maybe somebody's good offices. This is usually what the situation is. And I told you that once, that in China sometimes, it's not sometimes, oftentimes, being too honest is considered a fool. So, maybe I'm wrong. All right, but this is the spirit. So now let's just walk around a little bit and show you the surrounding of the village. And on the way, you can ask any questions through me. Oh. 你带路好了。带走。不过它下毛毛雨的话，有点对机器可能会有点影响，不能下大了。稍微附近走走就行了，也是不能走远。 how does he spend
就
his
看见
days?
这个村庄衰落了，现在他就一个人住在这。哎，那这才到么能姑父？
Karen, I know that
那这
he
才到么能哦？
sometimes goes to his daughter's home to live.
啊，那明白。
And that happens quite a lot. I mean, maybe 3 days ago, he just came back from his daughter's home. And his daughter, 他的那个大女儿还是小女儿住在那个五度的大女儿 His elder daughter lives in a town that you can drive to in half an hour. And it's his elder daughter's home that he goes to quite often to help. 他去那边主要是帮什么呢？
县民们找县民路灯的。
哦。
他去他大女儿那边主要是帮什么？
他去那边，也就是养病，去那边方便一点。他说，方便。比方要去医院了，你今天就得去那边。
哦，对对对。Yeah, and I asked why he goes there quite often, and they told me that because he has the gullet cancer. It's just easier for him to get to the hospital from his elder daughter's home, which is located in a town.
他现在整个村庄就他一个人了。老早哪一座好人啊？
This is a one-man hill. I mentioned a phrase in my introduction to this tour. Like old people, sometimes they get the cabin fever because they don't get the chance to see a lot of people due to the limitation of their physicality. Well, in his case, it's just there are no people who live here. Actually, I remember when I visited this hill years ago on my a spring festival, so-called vacation here with my wife. We visited here, and I saw some houses. Maybe it is because one, it was the Chinese New Year time. Some people they came back here, and well, for two, one old member, a lady, passed away just recently. Quite for a dramatic reason, because earlier this year, maybe in April or May, they told me that the lady who was in her 80s, on the way to do the COVID test from the hill down to a location at the foot of the hill, the lady tripped over, and it really hurt her. Since then, she had to stay in bed, and I believe that made the lady really suffer the cabin fever, because a lot of old members here, folks here, they like to move around. They want to work as their habit, and they want to be, living in the kind of feeling of self-sufficient. Since the lady had to stay in bed, I believe it impacted her both mentally and physically. Well, last month, the lady passed away. And it all began with the COVID test in this village with only hundreds of people altogether. I mean, not this village in particular. There are some other villages scattered around here. The entire area with a couple of villages around sees only hundreds of people. Yeah, Karen. Yeah, it's sad, but you don't have to feel sad until you hear it. For me, who live here in China, we just you can already have emphasized it. I mean, in a lot of ways. And why? Because you just see how old people, regardless of their age and the conditions, go to the COVID test spots every day. Oh, no, sorry, not every day, but in Shanghai it's every day, and here it's twice every day. Oh, sorry, twice a week. Twice a week. I'm sorry. 这是什么？野橘子。野橘子。
野橘子，
更矮。
不公派的。
This is a wild mandarin, tangerine. 甜不甜嘛？感觉应该是熟了哈。
熟了。当熟过。
3种。
3种啊？
送15多块。送来的哈。
你看这是因为听错字嘛，错字多冷啊。
Before we came up, we met a passerby, a local village, and he told us, be careful of a den of boars somewhere in this hill. And I asked a lady who, in the beginning of this video, who came up to this hill to pick the tea seeds, about how serious, how dangerous the boars can be in this area. And she told me that she used to see boars not far away from her when she worked in the field, in the hill. And she told me that just keep the boar alone, you will be fine. Don't irritate. Don't get too close and irritate. Don't beat a boar. It will be fine. Big snake up ahead. Get your gun ready. 这里有什么蛇吗？
有。
有啊。
蛇很多的。你弄多这里打蟹吧，它会打蛇。
这会打蛇哈。There are also barking deers. Male barking deers don't have horns, but female barking deers don't have horns, but male ones have horns. They are not very big, barking deers. There are snakes, squirrels, a lot of insects. And you know what? Now it's the beginning of winter, but it's not that cold. Let's say maybe it feels still like autumn at this moment. There are a lot of steam bugs. Every time when we take back our laundry after air drying, we have to always check if there are a lot of steam bugs that are stuck on the surface of the clothes or sometimes hidden in the pockets. A lot of steam bugs. And actually, you know what? 2 days ago, thank you, John. 2 days ago, when I tucked the pocket of clothes out, when I was, arranging all those clothes from the laundry, I got a very sharp sting, which later I found was from a bee in the pocket. It was quite a shock. And I actually, when I got the sting, I immediately threw away the clothes because I just felt, the pain. And it took me a while to recover. And then later I found that there was a bee that was hidden still in the pocket. This area also sees a lot of Chinese oak. And the acorns from a Chinese oak, I heard that local people use them to make tofu. It's one of their traditional staples, actually. They make tofu. But people don't make it as much nowadays. But in olden days, when the condition was hotter, people, they took advantage of the acorns. 这边有一棵 lasted for almost 1 minute. So I changed my location. I hope I'm back now, guys. 哎，这是什么树啊？ Thank you. Good to know I'm back. I was about to reboot my phone, but last minute it got back to normal. Some bamboos. 这里你们的人也挖笋吃的哈？就这种竹子吗？
对，就这种竹子。
春天的时候。
我姑父他是地理先生哎。
啊，好的。
他爸爸他在他13、14岁的时候就走掉了。他5、6岁开始，每天早上要让他背那些书，然后写毛笔字，然后还没读书就是已经让他学地理知识了，就是讲那些风水啊什么那些书背下来。
嗯。就5、6岁就开始让他看书了。
对，写字、看书、写毛笔字。
He said that when he was 5 or 6 years old, about Chinese feng shui. Then he started reading books about Chinese feng shui when he was 6 years old, something. 他去上学了吗？
去上学了，他小学毕业的。
小学毕业的哈。
他小学没毕业，他爸就死了嘛，所以他等于说就是从小他爸爸就要让他学习。
嗯。然后他小学毕业就没上学了。啊。The gentleman went to primary school. He didn't go. And about 3 years ago, my mother-in-law and people resorted to him to tell what was the best location for his tomb. And usually, sometimes you have to go to maybe a feng shui master, pay him to do this service. But in that case, because he is a relative of the family, he just
到那边要给他抱小孩，手